I would like to welcome Principal Dr. R.V. Katare sir, Karmavir Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya Washi. I would like to congratulate Head Department of Botany, Professor S.S. Doke sir, for organization of such a beautiful event. Further, I would like to extend my deep sense of gratitude to all the participants, colleagues, and my dear friends. The environment and the economy are really both sides of coin. If we cannot sustain the environment, we cannot sustain ourselves. With these beautiful lines, may I request our chief guest, Sri Mamasaehb Jagdale sir, to bless this great event. Sir, really, we are grateful to you for accepting our invitation and become a chief guest of today's event. Respected Mamasaehb Jagdale sir, please bless us.
Good morning, all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Kumar Shitole, Treasurer Sri Shiva Shiksha Prasarak Mandal Barshi. Dear friends, Karmavir Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya Washi is organizing one-day seminar, international webinar on 10 December 2021. I welcome resource person Mr. Suhas Chandra Doke, Senior Manager at Service USA, Honorable Dr. Mahadev Bimole sir, Senior Professor and Head Department of Environment, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad, and Chairperson, Honorable Dr. Ravindra Katare sir, Karmavir Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya Washi, and participants from various universities, colleges, researchers, teachers, and students for accepting our invitation and attending the international webinar on environment and sustainable development. Principal of our Washi College, Dr. Katare sir, organizer, Professor Doke sir, IQAC coordinator, Dr. Devkode sir, convener, Mr. Saul KJD, co-convener, Mr. Chavan sir, member of organizing committee, Professor Chaudhary sir. First, I announce that inauguration of this international webinar is over. Our Washi College is celebrating this year as a Golden Jubilee Year and organize various functions for students, teachers, and society. I congratulate to all organizing committee for organizing such a webinar and inviting resource persons having excellent academic record and deep knowledge in their fields. This webinar will be helpful to our students and teachers for improvement of academic and research activities. I also congratulate both of them because they are our past students, ex-students, and I hope they will process will be good for our institution. As we know, new education policy will help in fostering scientific temper from early age. At present, focus shifted from outlets to outcome, from textbooks to research and applications. Such type of webinar will encourage creation of pool of top quality teachers, and use of science and technology will get benefit to all of us. The topic of today's webinar, environment and sustainable development, is to spread the awareness among students and all peoples. Sustainable development is a pattern of resource use that aims to meet human needs while preserving the environment so that these needs can be met not only in the present but also on the generation to come. We know that there is a lot of environmental issues like greenhouse gases, rise in global temperature and its effects on nature, etc. United Nations Conference on Environmental Development that meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs, aiming at reducing environmental risk and increasing the resilience of societies and the environment as a whole. UN Environment Action fosters the environmental dimensions of sustainable development and leads to social economic development. Greta Thunberg, the 16-year-old Swedish girl, worked as a devotionally activist in respect of sustainable development. She has worked as the climate leadership that inspires to all of us. She is a world leader that is exactly what we need. We must try to create awareness regarding sustainable development. Let us start clearly on World Human Rights Day. I hope all of you will enjoy and get benefit of today's webinar to improve our academic quality. Best wishes for this webinar. Thanks to all. Thanks for accepting me as a chief guest. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you so much, sir. Each word of your speech is motivating and encouraging us for the betterment of the institute and the society. Now, I would like to invite Honorable Professor S.S. Doke sir, Head Department of Botany and the Chief Organizer of this webinar, to throw some light on the purpose of this webinar. Respected Doke sir.
Good morning to one and all present here. I am Professor Shamsundar Doke, Chief Editor and Head Department of Botany, Karmavir Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya, Washi. First, I would like to welcome our beloved today's chief guest, Honorable J. Kumar Bapu Shitole, Treasurer, Sri Shivaji Shikshan Prasarak Mandal Varshi. Heartily welcome both the resource persons of today's webinar, Sohag Chandra Doke from USA and Dr. Mahadev from Dr. Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya University, Aurangabad. Chairman of the first session, Principal of our college, Dr. Ravindra Katare. He is very supportive for such initiatives of your institution, and on behalf of our institution, I would like to take this opportunity. The second session of the chairman, Dr. Vinod Devarkar sir, he takes leadership actively in different social programs in Umarga city. He is also professor and head Department of Botany, Sri Chhatrapati Shivaji College, Umarga. I also welcome to all professors, researchers, students, and delegates from various places of globe. I also welcome all members of organizing committee, IPC coordinator Dr. Balaji Devpate, all my colleagues, students, and all faculty members of our college. I am glad to organize this one national webinar on environment and sustainable development for the awareness among the students and researchers. Our college is very conscious about the environment since its beginning. That's why our college campus is one of the evergreen campus among the Marathwada region. Department of Botany of our college has played a vital role in making campus evergreen. It includes an acre of botanical garden having the different plants, and also it has established a medicinal garden which having different 100 of the plants. So the environment is the surrounding in which we live. It is the source of our life. Our whole life is dependent on the environment. The need of the human being for food, water, shelter, and other things depends on the environment around us. There is a balanced natural cycle exists between environment and lives of human beings, plants and animals. So, the human society is playing a vital role in degenerating the natural environment, which in turn negatively affect the lives on the planet. All the human actions in this modern world directly impact the whole ecosystem. Global warming is on rise and Mother Earth is indicating may more natural. Disaster and temperature is going up due to the greenhouse effect. We all want to do our part the environment and we can help reduce the greenhouse effect by going more plantation. So I lastly say that without plants there is no life. Thank you all for accepting our invitation for today's international webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your brief introduction. Now, may I request Professor Sumit Chauhan to introduce our first resource person, Dr. Mahadev Jagdale sir, Head Department of Environment, Dr. Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya University, Aurangabad. Professor Professor Sumit Chauhan.
One and all, I am Sumit Chauhan, co-convener of today's webinar. The resource person of this session is respected Dr. Madhukar Mule sir, a person with huge experience of teaching and research, currently working as a senior professor and head, Department of Environmental Science, Dr. Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya University, Aurangabad. He did his MSc and PhD in Environmental Science and also completed DIS. He is working 25 years of teaching experience as a postgraduate teacher. He was working as an invited member in the BOS of Zoology subject of North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon, and also involved in syllabus framing of BSc and MSc Environmental Science as an ad hoc board chairman of Environmental Science subject of Dr. Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya University, Aurangabad. He has been working as a BOS member of School of Earth Science, SRTM University, Nanded, and involved in syllabus framing of industrial safety and MSc Environmental Science. Under his guidance, one student awarded MPhil by Shivaji University, Kolhapur, 9 students awarded PhD by Shivaji University and Dr. Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya University, Aurangabad. Currently, 8 PhD students are working under the guidance of Sir. He has been completed 2 UGC projects and 2 projects submitted to the Environment Department, Government of Maharashtra for the funding. Sir presented 72 research papers in national seminars, symposia, and various workshops. There are about 86 research papers published in many proceedings, national and international scientific journals, as well as in books. I would like to request Honorable Professor Dr. Mule sir to deliver his speech to us. Sir, please.
Thank you very much about the kind word. At the outset, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the authority of Karmaveer Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya, Washi, for inviting me as a resource person in the international webinar on environmental and sustainable development organized by this college, Karmaveer Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya, Barshi. At the outset, I would like to extend the sincere thanks to the principal, Katare sir, then principal organizing secretary, Dr. Doke sir, and for giving me an opportunity to present myself in this particular webinar. At the beginning, I have to express my deep sense of gratitude towards the inaugural chief guest, Sri Shitole sir, then other authority from this particular Sri Shivaji Shikshan Prasarak Mandal Barshi's the authority, as well as the principal and other honorable members from the Karmaveer Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya. I would like to extend the heartily congratulate for this educational institution on the occasion of the Golden Jubilee of this particular Mahavidyalaya. They are organizing the international webinar on important issue today world is facing, that environmental sustenance. And this particular environmental sustenance, which is a need of the time of the world, and on this important topic, they have organized the webinar and update themselves in this particular subject. It is a very proud thing as far as any educational institution is concerned, because which are identifying the real thrust areas of the today's world, and on which they want to develop something, they want to share the knowledge among the society for the benefit of the society. For this particular selection of the best topic for the webinar, international webinar, I would like to congratulate the convener of this webinar, Dr. Doke sir, for selecting this wonderful topic, and very important, which is related to the each and every person. And instead of saying only explaining the relation with the humans, but I could say extend or elaborate, this topic is being related to the each and every living creature on our planet Earth. So it is very important, the component, but we are somehow neglecting in our India. And on such occasion, your Karmaveer Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya's Botany department is organizing this kind of the webinar. This is really very, very important, the thing as far as to me, because I am also the son of the Marathwada region, and what our region is facing the problem, somehow some solutions which are there in the component of this sustenance for making the good environment or better environment for our futures. Somehow we find the way, we find some solution through this particular literature of the sustenance, and how it is going to helpful to solve or to mitigate our regional peoples. Outside, first I would like to welcome all the participants, and today in this particular webinar, I am going to discuss one of the topic, that environmental awareness and its need for the sustenance. It is one of the section from the environmental sustenance awareness. Environmental awareness. When we discuss the environmental awareness, then we have to, I think, there was a problem for this particular, but I would like to share this particular the topic which I am going to discuss in this particular webinar. When we speak about the environment, or what is our concept about the environment? As a common layman, it is each and everything or around us is our environment. In simple manner, we can define where we are living, what are the things present in our surrounding environment is our environment. But we have to understood this particular concept because in simple manner we are defining and we are forgetting about that. But this is one of the very important the aspect and various links of invisible wires of interrelationships which are existed in these particular environmental systems, and we are not aware about these particular systems. And because of lacking of this awareness of the invisible wires of interrelationship between the different components present in our environment, what kind of the consequential changes or consequent changes which are being taken place if there is a disturbance or if there is a destruction in one component, how it is going to affect on the other, that we are not able to understand. There are many things about these particular things because our environment, which is a very unique, and this is the result, our environment on our planet Earth is the results of the billions years of the evolutionary process. There is no role to the man for creation of our environment, but we are ourselves as a part of the environment, and being a part, we are trying to learn about our environment and understanding. It is unfortunate even at this particular level when our world is achieving industrial development at the peak, and we are getting the assistance of the different kind. Mankind is getting the various kinds of the assistance from the various component from our surrounding environment. But till our understanding about this concept, even in educated people also, is very the meager one. What this is quite big statement, but till our detailed understanding of each and every environmental component is still not able to understood. I would like to share a simple example. When I was there in Kolhapur, Shivaji University, some people from the Radhanagari forest, they have got one puppy similar to that of the dog's puppy, and they have brought that particular puppy by keeping it in the basket, and they have brought those peoples. They want to know whether this is the wild dogs or any other particular species which is being there, and they want to offer the protection, and they brought that species to the university campus when I was there working in the university. And they told that, sir, which feed we have to give to this, because the living creature which is in our surrounding, which is sharing our environment in which they are living, but till what to feed to that particular young puppy and how to survive that particular, and how to keep live that particular puppy, because it was very young and it was isolated from his mother, and if he is not getting the its actual food within the few hours, he could die. In that particular scenario, they are asking, sir, do you know which this species and what is its actual food? Then we have to search the encyclopedia about the mammals, their food. Then we have to identify the particular in local language. In Western Ghat, Kolhapur district, Radhanagari, Kolchinda, they called it as one of the wild dogs, the strain. I think in India, that wild dog they call Kolchinda also. And then it can be fed the milk or other milk, and by using the bottle, it has been fed and it survived. Later on, we told that where it has got, in that premises, their mother might be there, and you live in there by searching the nesting site. Otherwise, you could hand over to the wildlife division and other. See, whenever we get any single baby of the particular species, we are not aware about what is its actual food. That was the fact. And there were many millions of the things in our surrounding environment where detailed understanding is still not known. This thing is happen. We are enjoying our environment, but we doesn't know details because there is no role to the man. If I know, if I have any particular object, anything is being there. For example, if this particular pen, which is made up by the man, what are the component? What is the function of each and every sub component? Being a manufacturer, we know one part is not working, we can replace that, we can rectify, we can correct. But this particular part, we cannot apply to our environment because there is no role to the man to have our environment. And being a part of the environment, first we have to partially deteriorate our environment. And then after experiencing, first we have to deteriorate the natural environmental component, or degrade it or destroy it, and then what are the consequence impact of the destruction or removal of that particular component, we have to observe, and then we conclude that this activity is responsible for having these problems. If we perform this destructive activity in our natural environment, we are going to face these kinds of the future problem. Likewise, we are building our knowledge in this area of the field, and as a common layman, our understanding about our environment is also very, very, very superficial. Even in the educated person also, this particular pattern is being visible. So, when we perform the study, scientific study of this particular component, then we have to define it. And in this particular lecture about the environmental awareness, and its need in the sustenance, environmental sustenance, I think I would like to first discuss about the terminology in which the term about the environment, term about the awareness, and along with the awareness, we have to discuss the relative component like the environmental education and how this awareness, then the concept of sustenance, how it is being there, and what is the role of this particular awareness, which is to be discussed, because lacking of the awareness is one of the major factor for the further increasing deterioration of the environment. And for that purpose, first we have to understood the environmental concept. As a layman, we have layman's definition, each and everything around us is our environment. But in various books, environmentalists, they have defined the environment by using the different kinds of the terminologies. But everything around us is in this particular heading, each and everything is being incorporated. But in the conceptual understanding, there is a concept of microenvironment and there is a concept of the macroenvironment. It is when I say each and everything around us. Now I am staying in this, I am sitting in this laboratory. So immediate environment is laboratory environment. Now the laboratory wall is a boundary. If I am say laboratory environment, then laboratory wall is the boundary. This laboratory is in the Department of Environmental Science. So I can extend, instead of single laboratory, I can, this is a part of the environmental environment, having the good number of the laboratories, classrooms, and other the stores, etc., office. This particular environmental science is a part of the it is being in the university campus or in the Dr. Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya University. So if I have to study the university environment, then university boundaries are the limit as far as studying the environmental component in this particular premises. Laboratory environment, laboratory walls, or wall, laboratory department of environment, then environmental department, entire conditions, then university premises. University is a part of Aurangabad city. I can extend this particular boundary to when I have to study in my environment by applying my environment in the Aurangabad city. I consider the Aurangabad city's boundary. Then this, I can extrapolate this particular boundary up to Aurangabad Taluka, Aurangabad districts. Aurangabad districts is a part of the Maharashtra. And then I can elaborate my boundaries of the environmental studies up to the Maharashtra. Maharashtra is a part of India, and I can extend or extrapolate this particular boundary up to the India. India became a part of the Asia, and it became a part of the world. So I can extend from my classroom to the world, entire planet Earth. Planet Earth, now this microenvironment, what immediate environmental condition I am experiencing is my microenvironment. Means my laboratory environmental condition is my microenvironmental conditions. And there are various components in this micro concept. Smaller fraction is going to bring a adverse impact on that particular systems, their structure and function. In this classroom, if suppose our temperature is normal, but somehow some fraction is being there, I have burned the certain fossil fuel and temperature is increasing. Then within this microenvironment, increased temperature may create the particular problem. It may create the uninhabitable environment by releasing the smoke, poisonous gases and other in this. And it makes the uninhabitable microenvironment through the smaller perturbation, which is going to bring the significant change. So concept of the microenvironment in microorganisms, small microscopic organism, their immediate environment is their microenvironment. And that can be in ecological study or in the levels of organization is one of the component in our ecological study, where from the subatomic particle, atom to molecule to complex to protoplasm to cell to tissue to organ to organ systems, and different types of the systems present in the individual organism combines to form the population, different population combine to form the communities combines to form the ecosystem, producer community, herbivorous, carnivorous community forming the ecosystem, different types of the ecosystems part of our biosphere. Biosphere is a part of Earth. Now, in this particular, we can have this particular understanding from micro to macro environment. And immediate in the micro environment, whenever there is any change at the molecular level, which is also creating the adverse impact. And at the micro level, from the planet Earth is a part of our solar system, which is a part of the galaxy of the star, and galaxy of the star is part of the universe. In this, if there is any change in the galaxy of the stars and our solar system, then that is going to bring the changes. Meteorite collision on our planet Earth, which has exterminated the dinosaurs once upon time, which were dominating population of our planet Earth, but which were eliminated, which were removed from our planet Earth by the deep impact of the collision of the huge meteorite, more than 40 kilometer long diameter meteorite near the Mexico site. It has collided during the before few billion years ago on our planet Earth, and which has eliminated this particular. So this concept of micro and macro, whenever there is a perturbation of any parameter which is going to bring a drastic change in our environment, and this particular planet Earth and its environment on our in our solar system, which is a very unique. There are the certain very unique conditions which are present in the galaxy of the stars in our solar system, size of our sun in our solar systems, and the distance our Earth is rotating around the sun in the elliptical orbit. In the elliptical orbit, perigee and apogee is being there. It means when Earth is rotating around the Earth, sometimes it is going close to the sun. Generally, in the rainy season and summer season and rainy season, Earth is close to the sun. That's why high temperature, high intensity radiation is being there. And during the winter season, it is away from the comparatively away from the so low intensity radiation which is receiving in the winter season. This season, which is related to the elliptical orbit of the Earth, low intensity. Apart from that, sun size and their emission, radiation emission, the visible, infrared and other radiation which is being emitted from that. Earth is rotating in the golden zones, where in this golden zone, the output of radiation and in the planet Earth is rotating around its axis, and what the radiations which are receiving on the Earth, 12 hours in the 24-hour, 12-hour it is exposing to the sun, and 12-hour during the night time. So during the daytime Earth is heating, and during the night time it is a cooling. And in this particular golden zone, distance from the suns to Earth in the orbit are that we explain as a golden zone. And in this particular golden zone, solar input of the solar radiation and cooling output, which is balanced, and unique kind of the equilibrium is being establishing. And on our temperature, it is a dynamic parameter, continuously changing. But in our universe, it is on our planet Earth, thermal balance is being there. And what is our environmental uniqueness? The balanced environmental conditions. Though parameters are continuously changing. Let us take a red hot iron bar, keep it in our slowly it is cooling, because temperature is a dynamic parameter continuously changing. Because of the input radiation, temperature is increasing, but after the cooling it is decreasing. So increase and decrease, which is balanced, and equilibrium is being there. And in the equilibrium situation, average value of the parameter is constant. And by virtue of this particular thermal balance or equilibrium in the input thermal radiation, input energy and output energy, temperature in our environment, which is balanced, and average temperature value is constant. That's why here average temperature is constant. If we move from the mean sea level to the higher altitude, temperature gradient is being there. But when we measure the temperature and when we take the average value is constant since many billion years. This establishment of the equilibrium in input and output, there are the various reasons which are responsible for this particular unique thermal balance. But on our planet Earth, during the metamorphic changes, this thermal balance is being established, and average temperature of soil, earth crust, water body, that ocean, their average temperature of water, hydrosphere, average temperature of the atmosphere, average temperature of the lithosphere at the surface, which is constant. This is because the equilibrium conditions. And on our planet Earth, dynamic parameter, because by virtue of their equilibrium conditions, they are established. There is a equilibrium is being there, and average value is constant. So this particular concept on our planet Earth, seasonal condition is being there. Earth's inclined angle, which is responsible for the seasonal condition. There were many parameters which are very unique. That's why from the universe, when we are searching the living creature on the different planetary systems, find on the different solar system in the universe, we try to find out this golden zone and size of the sun and their golden zones. There is a possibility of having that particular life. And on our planet Earth, very unique condition is being there. Its Earth and its size. Mars is there, comparatively smaller mass than Earth. Less gravitational is being there. There is no very dispersed atmosphere is being there. I mean, Moon, their size is very small. Now, it is a natural satellite of the Earth, small size, but low gravitational force, no atmosphere, because atmospheric gases which are dispersed in the universe, no. But which is very unique on our planet Earth. Earth having the specific size, which having the gravitational force. Gravitational force is the parameter which is related to the size of this object, which is pulling this particular gas and holding this, and air layer is being around the planet Earth. Air, troposphere, stratosphere, ozone containing layer, by virtue of this gravitational force which is holding, and these gases which are not permitted to emit or from this, by virtue of this gravitational force which is related to the size. Very unique conditions are being there. And in our planet Earth, if we consider the hydrosphere, lithosphere, then atmosphere combines to form the biosphere. More than 12,506 diameter, Earth's diameter, 12 kilometer. From the mean sea level, 6 kilometer in the air, 6 kilometer in the water, and 6 kilometer from the surface, the living creature is being there. 12 kilometer thin layer around the Earth, which is supporting to the life. We called it as a biosphere. And because of the unique equilibrium conditions, this environment is very, very unique. And there is no role to the man to have this. This is by virtue of the Earth's metamorphic changes and by virtue of this equilibrium which is being established in the living, non-living, many physical, chemical reactions, physical phenomena, and in which this equilibrium is established and which is responsible for flourishing the living organism. And in the evolutionary process, man, which is a top dominating organism or predominating organism on our planet Earth, man, which is a part of this particular natural environmental system, but by virtue of our resonance capacity, problem solving capacity, we are dominating on our planet Earth. Once upon a time, dinosaurs were there, but now mammalian species, Homo sapien, that is man, we are trying to dominate, and our population has crossed that particular, I think, threshold limit. But by virtue of our brain and problem solving capacity, we are increasing the carrying capacity on our planet Earth. And this particular, the human's attitude of controlling this particular, man being a part of the environment, but we try to modify this particular environment according to our, and which is responsible for having the particular the systems. So on our planet Earth, the concept of biosphere, in that particular biosphere, different types of ecosystems are there: aquatic ecosystem, terrestrial ecosystem, arboreal ecosystem, in which we try to find out our own habitat in our this ecosystem. Man, being one of the living creatures similar to that of the other, we are trying to find out or we are trying to extend or extrapolate our habitat in these different kinds of the environment, and which is resulting, which we are trying to modify. There are the natural flora, fauna, but selectively we are offering the protection to the crop plants, crop fruits, then animals, and we are cultivating that natural ecosystem and man-modified ecosystem, not man-made. Man-made things which are like this pen, the mobile, any computer, these are called man-made. But natural ecosystems which are modified as per our requirement, man-modified ecosystem. We cannot say man-made ecosystem. Agriculture ecosystem is not a man-made ecosystem. It is a man-modified ecosystem. We are modifying and we are trying to increase our carrying capacity limit. And this particular environment, which is a very crucial, because of this human's activity, it is being altering significantly in the understanding this particular unique environmental concept. Now we have to discuss a little bit about the environmental studies. This subject is the 21st century subject or 20th century subject. In the late after 1950 onward, this subject has got the importance, and that specifically after the 1950 onward in the educational curricula. In earlier, this environmental science was studied as a ecology in the plant science, ecology in the animal science, separate ecology is being disciplined, then it is being upgraded as the environmental biology. Then only living organism and their interaction is being studied in the biological science as an environmental biology, but later on physical, chemical, and all the environmental component from the planet Earth and other interdisciplinary approach has been given, and environmental biology has been upgraded as environmental science. And from the 1970 onward, 1960 onward, we are studying the environmental science as a separate entity in our educational curricula. As far as our India's education system is concerned, I think you are aware about that. There is one person who is being working as a chairman of the UGC. I think Professor Yashpal. He is being the chairman. He has introduced this particular the subject incorporated in this particular our educational curricula. And today, in the beginning of this 21st century, this subject, environmental science, is being explained worldwide in all the education of the 21st century, because each and every creature is a part of this particular. If we have to survive on our planet Earth, we must understood our environment. As earlier, I have discussed about this, and today there are a good number of the environmental problems. Regarding these particular environmental problems, in different people from our society having the different understanding about this. but there are the different environmental problems: air pollution, water pollution, different pollution problem, air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, sound pollution, thermal pollution, radiation pollution, pesticidal pollution. There is a problem of degradation of the environment, deforestation is being there, desertification is being there, extinction of the species is being there, loss of species diversity, loss of genetic diversity, loss of other ecosystemic diversity, loss is being there. And there are the health hazard due to the toxic substance, toxicological problem is being there. There are the local environmental problems, there are the global environmental problems like the acid rain, then climate change problem is being there, greenhouse effect is being there, n number of the problems. And nowadays this list of the problems is being reaching in the thousands, and each and every problems having its own severity and gravity. If we have to live on this planet Earth, in the history of this particular, we found that the human environment is deteriorating at the rate. If it is deteriorating at the rate, very soon we are going to lose natural environment, and it is making uninhabitable, and we may suffer severely. So if we have to offer the protection to that, then we have to conserve the environmental component, environmental, and in the environmental study, environmental conservation, environmental management aspects, environmental mitigation of the pollution problem. Now, when pollution cannot be totally eradicated, we can mitigate, we can reduce the intensity of problem. That is in our hand. Reduction of the intensity, eradication of the total problem is not possible. If we need the fuel for the cooking and other, some basic activities are being there. Some amount of pollutant is going to release in our environment. We cannot totally remove the particular problem. What is in our hand, we can reduce the intensity of this problem, and we can maintain the environment in the particular threshold level. So this concept of the conservation to offer the protection and management, it is a branch of the science where the scientific principles are being used to manipulate the things, and accordingly, as per our requirement, when we maintain that particular component. So management, it is a practice where scientific principles are being utilized for achieving our desired target. In the environmental management, to maintain the environment, we employ the managerial practice, and all these become a very, very important part in the environment. I think this part, now education, we will speak about some education. What is now awareness? What the second term, which is very important about the awareness. What is the awareness? One can say, I am aware about this particular environmental degradation. It means I have the knowledge, I have the information about when the environment is degraded, what happens, how it is going to happen, affect on the human life and other. Awareness, it is a process of sensitization and the positive response to that particular the sensation phenomena. Now, sensation, it is related to the education, learning phenomena. Education is related to the learning, and in our physiology, learning, which there are the good number of the theories. I think we know the ethologists, the behavioral scientists, they have performed a good number of the experiment. What they have, chicken, after hatching the eggs from the hen, what they have replaced their actual parent hen by the inanimate model, remotely operating model. And immediately after hatching, that bird, what is, that is the inherent character, what they observe, that their mother is there, and they store that mother's picture, that she is a mom who has incubated that eggs, and the following the parent is the inherent character in that particular chicken, young new hatched chicken. And immediately after the hatching, that young baby observe that inanimate model and store, she is a mother. Sometime continuously, after keeping 2-3 days, they have replaced their inanimate model by the mother, but that young chicken follows to that inanimate model. It means the following the mother is the inherent character, but that baby has to learn which is their parent, and they're learning by observing through by sensitization, and our sensory systems which are involved in that. And in the living organism, different kinds of the sensory systems are there. Through the sensory systems, we are getting the information, we are getting the knowledge. This particular information is stored in the brain, and we learn about that one. That young baby learn about their parent, and if the original mother is being kept in front that till she is following that inanimate model. So baby has to learn, identify the parent. This particular learning in the education, we have to learn the things, and this is a physiological phenomena. Let us consider in the learning, if you don't know about the atom bomb and we have not shown the picture of the atom bomb to the baby, and we tell to the student that draw the sketch of the atom bomb, everyone student will think, because in their brain that basic information about the shape of the atom bomb, it is not there, because they have not seen, their sensory organ has not seen, and their image, they draw their sketch according to their opinion, how they feel, they think about that, and they draw their sketch. You perform another work, you show the sketch or the actual image of the atom bomb, and later on tell, then student will try to match the sketch with that shape, because they learn that this kind of the shape or the structure, which we called it as the atom bomb. That learning phenomena. In education, this particular learning, there are good number of the theories of the learning. It is a process in the living, in young, we are learning the many things, and we are through the formal education system, we are giving the education to the young one for developing the skill in the various fields. And this particular in the education systems, we are employing this for giving the education, and in the education, we are giving the environmental education to the student. Now this environmental education, which is being defined, as I have explained, the history of the environmental science, this is a 20th century subject, and we explain now this is the 21st century subject. This has very little history of the 6 to 7 decades. Environmental education, this particular is a part of the education system, very, I think, similar to that one, 6 to 7 decade history is being there for this particular subject incorporation as a separate entity in our education environmental science subject, which is in which we teach about the environment to the younger generation by using the various other traditional tool of the education. We are teaching this particular. Now what is the role to the environmental education? Because if we have to make the awareness among the society, then we have to give the proper environmental education to the younger generation or to the society. If education is not proper, then awareness might not be there. This particular fact has been identified by the Supreme Court of India also, and in the famous case filed by the famous activist M.C. Mehta in the Supreme Court of the India, in the verdict, the Supreme Court has identified that there is no another way. Give the proper environmental education to make the public awareness, and the aware public may contribute for the conservation of the environment or for offering the protection to our environment. If we have to protect our environment, there is no alternative. We have to give the good environmental education. Now, educated person and aware person, there is a difference. I may be educated, I have the knowledge, I have the information about that particular component, but it is not necessary I may be aware person or I may be aware person. As a teacher, I am teaching that the environmental plastic is hazardous to our environment, how it is responsible for integrating the hazards in our environment. It is non-biodegradable. When it is burned, it is releasing the poisonous gases which are responsible for the cancer generation. Hour after hour, I can teach my student theoretical, give the knowledge, pass the information among the student about the plastic, how it is hazardous to the mankind, living organism, or overall how it is hazardous to our environment. I am explaining that one, but at the same time, when there is after the completion of the lecture, when there is a phone call from the home, and that wife is requesting that during the from coming at the home, please bring the vegetable. And if I am carrying the lots of vegetable in dozens of the carry bags, which are made up of plastic. During the daytime, I have taught many hours to the student how the plastic is hazardous to the environment and it should not be used. And in evening, I am carrying the vegetables in the dozens of the plastic carry bag. I have the knowledge of the plastic, which is hazardous to the environment, but I am not aware about that one because my act, which is not pro to the environment, that is indicating lacking of the awareness. Because aware person's mind, which is if I am getting the knowledge, I am getting the information, but my mind is not sensitized in true manner that I am acting pro for that one, to offer the protection to that one. If I am denying that one and I say that give the paper bag for giving that particular vegetable, then I could understand, yes, he is having the awareness about that plastics, how it is disaster to that. But if I am carrying vegetables in the dozens of the plastic carry bag and I am creating the problem, that is not a sign of the awareness. I would like to share a very simple example. When I was there in Shivaji University, Kolhapur, near the university campus, Pratibhanagar area is being there, and there is a daily need shop is being there. One of the person, Karnataki person having that shop, who is being coming to the Kolhapur for job, and he stayed there. His shop is being there, and Pratibhanagar area is all the military near university campus is adjoining to the military campus in Kolhapur, and most of the retired military persons are staying in the Pratibhanagar area. And when I was there, I rushed to for purchasing my daily needs to that shopkeeper. There was a rush, and there was one age-old person, and there was conversation. I was listening that particular conversation, being a part of that, the customer in front of that shop, daily need shop, there is a conversation between that age-old person who is a retired military officer and shopkeeper. That customer, age-old person, want to purchase a battery cell for his torch, and shopkeeper is offering the battery cell of the best multinational company, Union Carbide cell. And when that shopkeeper person is taking that battery cell in a hand, what he is saying, I don't want this tank company cell. Give any other make, any other brand, any other company. I don't want to sell. And shopkeeper is arguing, sir, this is everyone is requesting. This is the very best cell. Everyone is requesting. If I am offering the other company cell, they are requesting. What he says, he murmured, the company which is responsible for the Bhopal gas tragedy. What he says that I don't want this damn company cell. And give any other company cell, but not this, though it is good, but I am not going to use. So surprisingly, I have been attracted towards that fellow, and I was discussing, sir, why you have done that? I have asked that. Then he said that the incidents of the Bhopal gas tragedy, the company which is responsible for killings of my thousands of the countrymen, I don't want to give my earned money as a benefit to that company who has killed. I will use any other dam, but not permit. That is the true signs of the awareness among the people. And at that time, I realized that yes, there are the people which having a strong commitment for the protection, even that such company they are not purchasing, and they don't want to give as a benefit through their using of their commodity product to that particular company. True sense. There were many of the people having these kinds of the awareness, and Supreme Court of India is also recognized this particular fact. If we are transmitting our knowledge in such a manner to the society that people is to be aware or sensitized, awareness is to be generated, so they will automatically take the part in the environmental conservation and in the environmental protection activity. And for such kind of the society, there is need of proper environmental education. And you may understood the difference of educated person and aware person. With these two examples are very crystal clear, explaining aware person who is going to take actively part after getting the knowledge, after the sensitization of that person, he is going to act positively for offering the protection to that particular environmental component. And the Supreme Court of India has identified this particular fact, and they confirm that proper environmental education, which is to be given to the younger generation, and they have to be sensitized, the awareness is to be created among this particular younger generation. So automatically they will offer their services for the protection to the environment. And that's why the proper sensitization, proper awareness about this particular fact through the proper environmental education. At this moment, I am going to how the awareness is being contributing significantly to the sustenance. After discussing the concept of the sustenance, I am going to discuss that particular component. But before that, being a part of the environmental education system, I would like to share what is our current environmental education. Though Supreme Court, by his verdict, given the decision and made this environmental science subject compulsory from KG to PG level. All faculty, this particular subject has been made compulsory. For what purpose? For making the awareness. But what is the scenario? Is true manner this particular subject is being taught in our education system? Very casual approach is being there. We know, according to our need, in our education system, budget the grant policy is being there, and we have our Maharashtra government or India government non-grant policy has been accepted, and this because of this the wrong policy of non-grant, this subject which is we are explaining as a 21st century subject, this subject is not considered for offering the grant because recent government policy, and there is no opportunity, no teacher coming to this, no appointment of the teacher, and whatever it may be, the person from the other subject is being offered this particular teaching work, and they are not giving the knowledge by, because competency is being required to give this particular knowledge with the authenticity of the younger generation. This is lacking. And this particular subject is not taught in our education system properly. That was my personal observation. I think when Nagnath Kotapalle sir was Vice Chancellor, some of the MSc Environmental Science student, after getting the judgment of that Supreme Court and UGC had made compulsory, this compulsory education is to be in environmental science is to be taught compulsory to all faculty. And regarding that implementation, some students, they have given the memorandum to the Vice Chancellor, and Vice Chancellor appointed in the committee. Those time Dean Ashok Mohekar was the chairman for that committee, being the head of the department. I think that was first round headship round of me, and from the department, I was one of the members. Some other 2-3 members are there in that committee. The students have given the some literature which they have collected from the university under the Right of Information Act in the Marathwada University. I think in Dr. Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya jurisdiction, in the college who taught this particular subject, they have requested this information, and what the information they have got, in that they have given that information to us. The English person is teaching the environmental science. How he can justify this particular subject? The workload is not there to the English person. The workload is being given to that English. Okay, then most of the botany, zoology person, okay, ecological part is being there, pollution part, somehow they can give the justification. Chemistry person can give the justification. Physics person, geology person, geography person can give the justification. But how the English and Marathi persons can taught this particular subject to this workload is there, and principal being a unwanted Supreme Court decision, they have to do something, whether you teach. Very casual approach is being there. See, our environment is deteriorating at the rapid rate. If we are not offering the protection to environment, very soon each and every living creature along with the man will be the victim. Today we are experiencing the little change in the climate change, how it is responsible for creating the havoc, emerging of the new kinds of the disease, epidemics, new kinds of the pest, and other drastic alteration in the environment, hydrological cycle. The many changes is being there. And in this particular subject, there is a need of urgent need to offer the protection to our environment, mitigation of the environmental problems, which is urgent need of the time. And in this time, our Supreme Court judge identify that proper environmental education is going to make the sensitization among the younger generation, and sensitized younger generation will contribute for the offering the protection. Now, how the non-subject person can contribute for this? I would like to share this with the very good example. Suppose there is a person which having the brain hemorrhage in its brain. We know nervous system is a control system. If there is a brain hemorrhage, to treat this hemorrhage is a skilled person. A skilled neurosurgeon is required to treat this, open the skull and do the operations in that one. But similar manner, if patient has been rushed to the hospital, brain hemorrhage is being there, immediately patient has been transported to the hospital. In the hospital, there is no skilled neurosurgeon, but there is an ordinary that person which is being there, who is assisting to the doctor, assistant there, the ward boy and other which are assisting during the nurse and ward boy which are assisting to the doctor during the operations, surgical operations, and that person is being there. And there is no expert doctor for opening the skull of that patient, but the assistant who is helping to the doctor for the operation is there. And if by force we tell to that the person for opening the skull, what will be the result in that patient? That definitely the death is the result of that particular in that patient, because he is not skilled person in that, but he is available and we force to do that particular work. And what will be the result? Result will be the death of the patient. Likewise, environmental science, it is a subject to offer the protection to the environmental component. There is a need of the team of the aware society member, large number of the peoples must have the proper environmental awareness. And to give the proper environmental awareness, there is a need of the environmental education, and that to be proper environmental education is to be given to the younger generation, so awareness can be generated. And if the person doesn't know the severity of the subject, person doesn't know the background of how he can justify and with what severity he can contribute to that particular subject, he may read that particular book and he may something perform their duties. No awareness is going to create among the society. I would like to share this. Education is to be given in the proper manner. I think in the B.Ed and other, we may have studied the Chetak Badal and other kinds. If I am a teacher of botany and if I am discussing the taproot system, and to make the sudden change in the student in the B.Ed, what Chetak Badal, to create such kind of the change and student, that information can be implanted a long term. And if teacher carrying the carrot in his pocket and during the teaching of the taproot system, if student today we are going to discuss the taproot system, and suddenly if he take out the carrot and show to the student, this is an example of the taproot system, student never forget that particular taproot system and other, because Chetak Badal, there change in that education teaching pattern which is going to implant and sensitization about that structure of that organ, etc. In the environmental science, such sensitized through expert person with the systematic manner, if this particular subject is transmitted among the society, and when the person aware about that our survival is in danger, very soon if we are not taking the precautionary measure, if we are not reducing our environmental problems, which we consider thousands of the problems and each and every problem having its own gravity, and if we are not offering the protection, if we are not reducing the intensity of these problems, our human survival and other the living creature survival is in danger. once this component is being aware among the society, then they can contribute significantly for offering the protection. But it was unfortunate. In our education systems, we are taking things very casually. Okay, now in this concept of environmental awareness, we have discussed about this. Now we will discuss the concept of the sustenance. What this particular concept of the sustainable development within how the environmental awareness is being contributing for the environmental sustenance. After this discussion, in the conservation, principle of the conservation is being there to offer the protection. If we were, and in the sustenance, we have to follow the principle of conservation, and then it is going to sustain that particular system. Long-term sustenance. In early speech, Dr. Doke sir has explained this sustenance, how it is needed, and even the chief guest, how they have elaborated, they have mentioned that how the sustenance is being needed to our society. Long term, this if environment is being, if we find out this particular causative factor for the environmental problem, what we are observing that humans exploitative activities, specifically the natural resource exploitation, which is responsible for the degradation of the environment. Degradation of environment, exploitation, purification and utilization of natural resources is one side of the coin, and degradation of environment is the another side of the coin. When and exploitation, purification and utilization of natural resource is needed for the human development, which we are carrying out at the rapid rate in worldwide through all the continent. We try to develop ourselves by increasing the exploitation, and simultaneously we are degrading the environment at the time of exploitation, at the time of purification, and even at the time of utilization. So exploitation, purification and utilization of the natural resource is directly proportional to the degradation. Excess the exploitation, excess the utilization, excess the purification, excess the degradation of the environment. And when environmental degradation of environment, in intensity of the environmental problem is being increasing. If we have to mitigate, means we have to reduce our consumption of the natural resource. We have to reduce our needs. And in the principle of the sustenance, this particular threshold limit is being there. For explaining the principle of the sustenance, I would like to, principle of the conservation. The term conservation, con and surveyor together, and meaning to offer the protection. In the Marathi literature, to offer the protection is the meaning of this conservation term. And in under the conservation, we guarding or offering, let us consider water body is being there, having the fish. And I have to conserve it, means I have to, literal meaning, if I take, I have to protect it. I am guarding. I am not permitting to enter in that one. I am not permitting to drink the water, or I am not permitting to take the single liter of water and give to the any plant. The fishes are there, which I am not permitting to hunt because I am guarding. Guarding is not good conservation principle. I need the fish as a food. I can opt the some amount of the fish. But total, I cannot remove. I can keep the some amount of the fish in that particular pond, so they can propagate. And long term, they can available. So excessive exploitation is to be avoided. Some amount is to be kept for the future generation. Limited. What is my need? If 10 unit is my need, I have to exploit 10 only. Not the total resource from that one. I need water for drinking, some water for the giving to the plant. But I cannot permit to pump out the entire pond water so that fish can die. So I can maintain the water in that lake pond so fish can survive. So some amount of water is being. So this principle of the conservation, which is deciding this particular, which can offer the protection to this. And this particular principle is being identified after the United Nations, that Human Development Conference. This particular issues was in this particular conference. In the Agenda 21, the most of this particular principle is being highlighted. And nowadays, entire world, we are trying to reduce the consumption of the natural resource, and we try to, what is our need? Optimum, yeah, not excess. no utilization is also not there. Resource is being there, but if we are not utilizing, there is no development. So we have to exploit the resource with the particular limit. So there will be no degradation. No degradation. It can be stored for the. It can be made available to that. This particular principle, which can be achieved only through by following the principle of the conservation. And if society is aware, then and then these kinds of achievement is being done. And that's why this is a very important thing, that the environmental awareness is being needed. Take any current three issues, global warming or other, the climate change. People should be aware about this particular fact. And we have to sensitize the people for the proper awareness. Then and then we are able to tackle with this. Otherwise, in our future generation, we may be the victim. Very soon, we may be the victim. And by identifying this particular importance of this climate change and other, even environmental ministry, their name has been changed. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, this particular, because these are the very, very important issues. Now, there is a need to urgent sensitization about these particular issues among the society, and then we can offer the protection. Sir, I think at the last, we have to make the proper awareness among the society, then and then we can keep our clean environment for our future generation. There are good number of the activities. We have to offer the conservation activity. All the natural conservation is needed. If you are saving the half glass of water, that will be your contribution for offering the water resource conservation. So to offer the protection of any fuel, energy, minerals, metals, agriculture, food, in every resource, if you are offering the protection, that will be your significant contribution. So and until you have the awareness about this particular component, you may not offer the protection to your environment. That's why if you have to offer the protection to the environment, you have to follow this particular, and there is a need of the aware society. At this particular moment, I congratulate the Armaveer Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya for making the awareness among the teaching community about this important subject and how it is a very important issue as far as the today's 21st century is concerned. For that purpose, there are good number of the act. We can discuss that one. But at this moment, I think I close up this with the request. We have to, by heart, we have to involve in the offering the protection to the environment through our small act. And then we are offering the protection to our environment. And then our future will be able to sustain. Our future younger generation will sustain. If we are not doing then our future generation will ask, you have enjoyed the good environment, and what we have kept us is a degraded environment, and they will put the big question and they will raise the allegation against you. So this is a proper time. Wake up and create the awareness. At this moment, I recommend that teaching community, scientific community, create the awareness among the society for offering the protection, conservation to our environment, or involved in the conservation activity and offer the protection to our environment, so our future generation can enjoy our clean and good environment just we are enjoying. With this particular, I close. I once again thank organizer for giving me an opportunity to present myself in this particular international webinar and discuss the environmental awareness of the time for the offering the protection or need of the environmental awareness for the sustenance of our future environment, in which environmental education and awareness is the key and constitutional factor. Thanks once again. And if any queries is being there, question is being there, you can ask one. Sir. Okay, sir. Chavan sir, if any queries is being there, audience, I will be very, because this will be the one type of the monologue. I have presented myself. If some query, question, whatever it may be, I will try to give the answer to that one.
Okay, very nice, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
for giving your valuable insights.
आवाज म्यूट होतोय सर.
Grateful for having you with us. Thank you. So with that, we will go ahead and take some time for the questions. Now the participants are requested to put their question in the chat box, or they can raise their hand. The session is open for the question and answer. If there is a question, they can raise their hand or they can put their question in the chat box. I think there are no any questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Then, if any is being there, then I can even I will share this presentation to Doke sir for the candidates' benefit also.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Okay.
Now I request Principal Dr. R.V. Katare sir to preside over the session. Principal Dr. R.V. Katare sir.
Thank you, Chaudhary sir. I am audible, sir?
Yes.
Yes. You are
Okay.
audible.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Chaudhary sir. Friends, on the occasion of Golden Jubilee Year, we are organizing various functions, webinars, and this event is also one of the part of celebration of the Golden Jubilee Year. Today, Department of Botany and IQAC organized a one-day international webinar. For this inaugural function and first session, the chief guest, Honorable Shitole Bapu, Treasurer Sri Shivaji Shikshan Prasarak Mandal Washi, the resource person for the first session, my friend Dr. Mahadev Mule sir, Senior Professor and Head Department of Environment, Dr. Mamasaehb Jagdale Mahavidyalaya University, Aurangabad. First of all, my sincere thanks to Shitole Bapu, also Professor Mule sir, another resource person, Mr. Suhas Chandra Doke sir, for accepting our invitation as a resource person in this international webinar. The head of the department and chief organizer of this webinar, Professor Doke sir, IQAC coordinator, Dr. Devkate sir, member of organizing committee, Professor Chaudhary sir, convener of this webinar, Mr. Salunke sir, and co-convener, Mr. Chavan sir. Dear friends, participants, delegates, researchers, students, and ladies and gentlemen. Friends, as you know, the protection of the environment is the need of universe, and we are facing the problems due to unbalance of the environmental conditions. Professor Mule sir gives detailed information starting from the basic things, also recent examples to protect the environmental conditions. Also his work in the Aurangabad city, Aurangabad district, and also he explained the future plans to protect the environmental condition. Mule sir, your lecture will be helpful to our students, researchers, and teachers in its future academic progress. So, once again, I am thankful to you, sir, because of a nice and informative lecture to the students and teachers. Also, I am thankful to the organizing committee for giving me opportunity to chair this session. So once again, thanks to organizing committee and welcome all participants in this webinar. Thanks once again. Over to Chaudhary sir.
Thank you, sir. Once again, thank you, Mole sir. So,
Thank you,
after
sir.
the successfully completion of the first session, so without any ado, we are entering into the second session. The resource person for the second session is Honorable Sri Suhas Chandra Doke, Senior Manager at ServiceNow in United States of America. On behalf of the Institute, I would like to welcome Sri Suhas Chandra Doke and I request Professor Sumit Chauhan to introduce Sri Doke sir. Over to Sumit Chauhan sir.
Respected dignitaries, faculty, staff, and my dear friends joined from the world. Very good afternoon, one and all. I am Sumit Chauhan, co-convener of today's webinar. It gives me a great pleasure to introduce the resource person of the session, respected Mr. Suhas Chandra Doke, currently working as a senior manager ServiceNow in San Francisco from USA. He did his bachelor and master's degree in Agricultural College, Pune, and also done Master of Science in Bioinformatics from Bioinformatics Center affiliated to University of Pune. Sir secured first rank during his master. Sir is the fellow of Indian Council of Agricultural Research, New Delhi, and awarded by Ramachandran Fellowship by the University of Pune. He was not only a studious but also a sport person in his academics. He was awarded by gold medal in athletics during his school and college. He was an expert swimmer at school level and are honored with gold medal in backstroke, breaststroke, and water polo. Apart from the academics, he has been engaged with co-curricular activity such as volunteer in Second Harvest Silicon Valley, committed to build hunger-free community. He has been trained and certified pilot, regularly fly over Bay Area and North California region. Sir are the multi-dimensional personality. He hails from a rural background in Maharashtra, a son of the soil, with his dedication and commitment raised to keep the nation top in abroad. We proud of you, sir, and eagerly waiting to listen your speech. I would like to request Mr. Suhas Chandra Doke, sir, to deliver his speech. Sir, please.
थँक यू. सर्वप्रथम मी सर्व ऑर्गनायझिंग कमिटीचे आभार मानतो की त्यांनी मला इथे बोलण्यासाठी बोलवलं आणि अमेरिकन थोडीशी तांत्रिक अडचण होती त्यावेळेस पण त्यांनी आता मदत केली आणि माझे थँक्स मुळे सरांना पण आहेत की त्यांनी सेशन पहिल्यांदा घेतलं माझ्या अगोदर जे माझं होतं ऍक्च्युअली. सो थँक्यू फॉर दॅट. तर मी थोडस आदरणीय बी.वाय. यादव अध्यक्ष कन्वरी शिक्षण संस्था, शितळे बापू खजिनदार, प्रोफेसर कटारे प्रिन्सिपल, प्रोफेसर डोके हेड ऑफ बॉटनी डिपार्टमेंट, सर्व ऑर्गनायझिंग कमिटी, गुरुजन, मित्र आणि मैत्रिणींनो, मी मराठीत बोलतोय याचं कारण आहे थोडंसं तुम्हाला वेगळं वाटेल, पण मला वाटतं की एखादा अवघड सब्जेक्ट तुम्हाला सांगायचा असेल विषय तर तो मराठीतून सांगितलं तर जरा थोडासा काळजाला भिडतो. कारण आपल्या पुढे जे काय वाढून ठेवलेलं आहे ते जर आपल्याला अजूनही नाही कळलं तर आपण संपलेलं आहे ऍक्च्युअली. आता जे काय चालू आहे ते सगळं आपलं उदार का टाइम आहे सगळं, आपले उधारीतलं आहे सगळं जे काही आपण आता करतोय किंवा करणार आहोत पर्यावरणावर. तर आता तुमच्या समोर ज्यावेळेस मी उभे राहतो त्यावेळेस असा प्रश्न पडतो की कुठून सुरुवात करावी, कारण एवढ्या गडबड झालेल्या आहेत. आणि ते मला वाटतं मुळे सारखी बऱ्याचशा गोष्टी सांगितल्या की एवढ्या उलतापालत झालेले जगात, आणि ते आपलेच किडे आहेत सगळे, ते आपणच केलेले आहेत सगळे. तर त्याचा एक फक्त मी एक थोडासा मला एक आलेख दाखवणार आहे, थोडेसे चित्र दाखवेल की नक्की हे किती गंभीर स्वरूपाचं आहे. आणि जसं आपण म्हणतो ना की थिंक ग्लोबली ऍक्ट लोकली, तर मी आता युएसए मध्ये जे असलो तर मी इथली पण परिस्थिती सांगेल तुम्हाला, आणि नंतर आपण अगदी आपल्या गावाकडे जाऊ आणि मग दोन्ही चित्र बघूया की नक्की आपल्याकडे काय प्रॉब्लेम, सगळीकडे म्हणजे आपल्याकडे म्हणजे जगात काय प्रॉब्लेम चालू आहे आणि आपण कुठे लक्ष देतोय. आणि आता खरंच तसं होतं की जे काय चालू आहे ते असंच चालू राहिलं तर फार मोठा प्रॉब्लेम होणार आहे. ऑलरेडी झालेला आहे. तुम्ही जर मला 10 वर्षापूर्वी हेच बोलवलं असतं तर माझा थोडासा टायटल मी बदललं असतं. आता माझं टायटल आहे की विनाशाकडे, सॉरी फेसिंग द कॅटास्ट्रॉफी, राईट. आणि आता पण जात्यात पडलेलं आहे, आता फक्त घर शोधू बाकी जात्याखाली. आणि आपल्या अगोदर शेतकरी गेलेला आहे. आपण बहुतेक सगळे काय म्हणतो शेती आपल्या कुठेतरी आपण शेतीशी जुडलेलो आहे, डायरेक्टली नसेल तर इनडायरेक्टली. जरी आता काही जणांकडे शेती नसेल तरी पूर्वी होती, किंवा तुमच्या बापलीकडे शेती आहे, त्यामुळे तुम्हाला शेतीबद्दल जास्त माहिती आहे ऍक्च्युअली. तर शेतकरी जातात गेलेला आहे, आपण ऑलरेडी पडलेलो आहे, त्यामुळे याच्या पुढे काय होणार आहे. तर हा विचार करताना खरं तर म्हणजे मी फक्त विचार करतो असं नाही, खूप मोठ्या शास्त्रज्ञांनी विचार केलेला आहे आणि त्यांनी खूप साऱ्या गोष्टी मांडलेल्या आहेत. त्यातून मी फक्त एक तुम्हाला दाखवतो. माझं स्क्रीन दिसते तुम्हाला? हॅलो.
हाँ सर.
एक मिनिट.
हाँ सर. ओके दिसायला लागली स्क्रीन. दिसायला लागली स्क्रीन.
ओके ओके ओके. कधी कधी तो थोडा प्रॉब्लेम करतो. आता दिसते स्क्रीन?
ओके सर विजिबल. ओके सर विजिबल.
तर मार्टिन रीस नावाचा एक मोठा संशोधक आहे जो ब्रिटनचा आहे, म्हणजे ज्याला आपण इंग्लंड म्हणतो, आणि तो रॉयल सोसायटी ऑफ चा अध्यक्ष होता. ओके, त्याच्यामुळे असं कोणी आयरा गैरा नत्तू खैरा नाही. तर या माणसाने एक मोठं पुस्तक लिहून ठेवलेलं आहे ज्याला आपण पॉवर फायनल अवर म्हणतो, आणि याच्यात हा सगळ्या कारणांची मीमांसा करतो की ज्याच्यामुळे आपण जगातून नष्ट होऊ, म्हणजे मानव. बाकी राहतील नाही राहतील ते नंतरच आहे, किंवा ते राहतील, राईट, आपण नष्ट होऊ. म्हणजे काय काय कारण आहेत तर त्यांनी सगळं घेतलेलं आहे, अणुयुद्धापासून ते तुमच्या नॅनो टेक्नॉलॉजी पर्यंत, राईट. आता अणुयुद्धाचा धोका हा आपण लगेच बोलायला गेलो तर आपल्याला असं वाटतं की अरे तेच फार हे दिसतंय, आणि ते खरे पण आहे. कारण आज पाकिस्तानात जे चाललंय किंवा युक्रेनमध्ये काळा बाजार चालतो, त्याच्यानंतर तुमच्या नॉर्थ कोरियामध्ये चालतो, राईट. आणि कित्येक हे काय टेररिस्टचे गट आहेत की जे हे बघायला थांबलेले आहेत की आपल्या हातात कधी लागते. एक तरी एक जरी यांच्या हातात लागलं ना अणुबॉम्ब, किंवा त्यातलं फक्त फिशन मटेरियल, त्यातून डर्टी बॉम्ब म्हणत येतो जो अणुबॉम्बपेक्षा भयानक आहे, की ज्यातून फक्त किरणोत्सर्जन होणार आहे. आणि आजची जी परिस्थिती चालली आहे साऊथ चायना सी मध्ये, चायना डोळे दाखवतो सगळ्यांना, तैवानचा प्रॉब्लेम चालू आहे, हे सगळं बघू वाटतं ते पण कधी कधी एस्केलेट होतं की काय युद्धात, आणि मग ते झालं तर काय अणुयुद्ध होईल का? तर त्याच्याबद्दल पण मार्टिन रीस सांगतो. त्याच्यानंतर आपण बायोलॉजीमध्ये जे काही प्रयोग चालवले आहेत नको नको ते, आणि ज्याच्यामुळे असं वाटतं की बायोलॉजिकल वॉरफेअरसाठी म्हणजे बायोलॉजिक युद्ध करण्यासाठी नवीन व्हायरस तयार करायसाठी ज्याचं पोटेन्शियल जास्त असेल, जो जास्त लोक मारेल, जो जास्त लवकर स्प्रेड करेल, राईट. आताच आपण कोविडमध्ये आहोत, अजून नवीन स्ट्रेन येतो असं दिसतंय. कित्येक लोकांचं असं म्हणणं आहे की हा ऍक्च्युली इंजिनियर्ड आहे, आणि मी याला थोडासा दुजवणार नाही, जास्त नाही, पण थोडीशी आहे शंका घ्यायला. कारण ज्या प्रकारे हा स्प्रेड झाला जगभर, कारण मी सुद्धा व्हायरॉलॉजी स्टडी केलेली आहे, चांगल्या प्रकारे स्टडी केलेली आहे. आम्हाला गोरेस शिकवायला यायचे, डेप्युटी डायरेक्टर ऑफ व्हायरॉलॉजी. तर ह्याचा जो पॅटर्न आहे, ज्या प्रकारचा स्प्रेड करायचा आहे, हा नॉर्मली इतर कुठल्याही व्हायरसमध्ये आतापर्यंत नाही आढळला की एवढ्या पटकन स्प्रेड होऊन एवढ्या पटकन म्युटेशन करणार. सो पण ते जरी आपण बाजूला ठेवलं तर हे पण एक कारण होऊ शकतं की जगातून मनुष्य गायब होऊ शकतो, किंवा वाचा तर अगदी त्याला जो वाचेल त्याला पण शून्यापासून सुरुवात करावी लागेल. मग मार्टिन रीसच्या मते सगळ्यात वरचं कारण काय? तर तो सगळ्यात वरचं कारण सांगतो ती पर्यावरणाचा बिघडलेला समतोल, आणि तो आता बिघडलेला आहे. आता आपण असं नाही म्हणायचं की तो बिघडत आहे. आता आपण आपलं जो वर्तमान काळ आहे तो चालू वर्तमान काळाच्या पुढे जायचा, आणि तो बिघडलेला आहे. आता याच्यासाठी तुम्हाला एका बाबतीत कित्येक तरी आपल्याला एक्झाम्पल देऊ शकतो. मी कॅलिफोर्नियामध्ये, तुम्हाला कॅलिफोर्नियाची गंमत सांगतो. मग त्याच्या अगोदर कॅटरीना कैफांची नाही बरं का, कैफांची गेली, आता तिचं लग्न बिग्न झालं, विसरा तिला. तर कॅटरीना आलं होतं 2005 मध्ये, आणि हरिकेन काय असतं हे आपल्याला माहित नाही बरं का, तुम्ही बघितलेलं नाही, तुम्ही कधी अनुभवलेलं नाहीये. कधीतरी एखाद्या वेळेस ओडिसा साईडला कधीतरी आलं होतं, पूर्वी मला वाटतंय साऊथ इंडिया म्हणजे त्या टोकाला पण कधीतरी आलं होतं. पण इकडं जो ज्या टाईपचा हरिकेन येतो ना, म्हणजे तुम्ही जर अमेरिका पाहिला तर हा जो भाग आहे अमेरिकेचा, हा इथला, त्याला टोर्नेडो व्हॅली म्हणतात. तिथे 7 राज्य आहेत की ज्याच्यात साधारण ऑगस्ट पासून ते नोव्हेंबर पर्यंत एका मागून एक हरिकेन येतो. ओके, तर हे हरिकेन कॅटरीना 2005 मध्ये आलं, आणि त्याने अमेरिकेच्या 3 राज्यांना मोठा तडाखा दिला. न्यूयॉर्क, नॉर्थ कॅरोलिना, इलिनॉय आणि फ्लोरिडा. पण सगळ्यात फटका बसला न्यू ऑर्लियन्सला. तो एवढा भयानक होता की अमेरिका जो म्हणजे ज्याच्याकडे एवढी टेक्नॉलॉजी आहे की त्यांनी याच्या पुढे पण यान पाठवलं कशाच्या, आपल्या सोलार सिस्टमच्या, आणि तिथून पण डेटा कलेक्ट करतात, पण त्यांना काही नाही करता आलं. ते आतापर्यंत सगळ्यात भयानक वादळ ठरलं 2005 पर्यंत. त्याच्यानंतर जेवढी वादळं आली, 1, 2, 3 ऍक्च्युली कॅटेगरी असतात त्याच्या, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 कॅटेगरी मध्ये काय वारं होतं माहिती आहे तुम्हाला? 350 किलोमीटर. आपण कधी पाहिलं का 350 किलोमीटर प्रति वेगाने पाहणारं वारं? तुम्ही पाहिलेलं नाहीये, कारण आपल्याकडे ते होतच नाही कधी. आपण जर आपण भारताकडे पाहिलं तर भारतात आपल्याला जॅकपॉट लागलेलं आहे. आता हे मला कसं कळलं, म्हणजे तुम्हाला खरं तर कळलं पाहिजे, पण हे मलाही कळलं नव्हतं. मी अमेरिकेत आलो, आणि मी आणि माझा एक पार्टनर होता, म्हणजे आम्ही एकत्र राहायचो 2 बेडरूम मध्ये. तर तो ऍपल मध्ये होता, त्याचं नाव स्टीव्ह स्मेला. हा पोलंडचा नाही ऍक्च्युली, तो पोलिश, पण तो होता अमेरिकन. तर हा PhD पट्ट्या, आणि हा ऍपल मध्ये मॅप्सचा डिव्हिजनचा तो मेन होता, मे बी वाईस प्रेसिडेंट होता तो. तर मग त्याच्या आम्ही संध्याकाळी दररोज भेटणार, कारण रूम पार्टनर म्हणलं तर काय, राईट. आणि मग गप्पा चालायच्या. मग तो एकदा बोलता बोलला, अरे यू आर द मोस्ट लकीएस्ट पीपल ऑन द अर्थ. म्हटलं बापरे, आम्हाला कसलं लक आलंय, भारतीयांना एवढा अभिमान तर आपला स्वतःला पण येत नाही कधी. मग काय तुझ्या मध्ये काय, आम्ही काय, आम्हाला काय लॉटरी लागली अशी वेगळी. तो म्हणतो तुम्ही जर भारताकडे पाहिलं तर वरच्या साईडला हिमालय आहे, आणि तिन्ही साईडने तुमच्याकडे समुद्र आहे. तुमच्याकडे कुठलीही मोठी नॅचरल डिझास्टर येत नाही. भूकंप सुद्धा आपण कुठल्याही मोठ्या भूकंपाच्या फॉल्टवर नाही येत. कॅलिफोर्निया 2 भूकंपाच्या फॉल्टवर उभा आहे. त्याच्यामुळे तुम्हाला कॅलिफोर्नियात घर बांधायचं असेल तर तुम्हाला सिमेंट कॉन्क्रीटचं घर बांधता येत नाही. ते तुम्हाला लाकडाचं बांधायला लागतं. तर ते चालत नाही कॅलिफोर्नियामध्ये. आणि त्याच्यानंतर तो म्हटला की अजून काय तुमच्याकडे 3 किंवा 4 ऋतूमध्ये 12 महिने तुमच्याकडे तुम्ही पीक घेऊ शकता. तुमच्याकडे पाऊस चांगला पडतो. तुमच्याकडे वन ऑफ द म्हणजे सगळ्यात जगातलं एक टॉप 2-3 मधली तुमच्याकडे सुपीक जमीन आहे. म्हटलं हे काय मग लॉटरी तर काय. आणि खरंच आपल्याला लॉटरी लागली आहे. पण आपण लॉटरी लागल्यानंतर काय करतोय. जर तुम्ही मागच्या फक्त 50 ते 60 वर्षातील आपल्या शेती ज्या प्रकारे आपण करायचं चेंज केलं ते जर आपण पाहिलं तर ते एवढे भयानक वास्तव आहे की म्हणजे आजकाल त्याच्याबद्दल बोलणं पण प्रॉब्लेमॅटिक झालं. ज्या प्रकारे आपण पेस्टिसाइड वापरतोय बरोबर आहे. ज्या प्रकारे आपण आजकाल तणनाशक वापरतो राऊंड अप, त्याचे एवढे भयानक परिणाम आहेत की आता अमेरिकेमध्ये मोठी चळवळ उभी राहिली त्याच्या विरुद्ध की ते थांबवा म्हणून. त्याचं पूर्ण हे थांबवा म्हणून. आणि आपण मात्र बिंदास वापरतो. आपल्याकडे तर कित्येक कीटकनाशक आहेत की जे इकडे अख्ख्या जगात बॅन झालेत पण आपल्याकडे चालू आहे. इन्क्लुडिंग द काय ते आपलं एंडोसल्फान. तर अशी ही टोर्नेडो आली आहे आणि ही हरिकेन म्हणतो आपण याला. तर कॅटेगरी 5 ला 350 किलोमीटर वाहतात. पूर्ण 3 सिटीचा उद्ध्वस्त केला त्यांनी त्यावेळेस. आणि त्याच्यानंतर दरवर्षी वेगवेगळे नवीन त्याच्यापेक्षा जास्त क्षमतेने आलेले आतापर्यंत. विल्मा आलं, इर्मा आलं आणि प्रत्येकाने त्यांनी छान छान नाव ठेवताना. आणि हे ते त्यावेळेसचा फोटो आहे ज्यावेळेस हे कॅटेगरी 5 बनलं. पुढचं आता कॅलिफोर्निया तुम्हाला तिकडून छान वाटतं बरोबर आहे. कॅलिफोर्नियामध्ये अजून एक मोठा प्रॉब्लेम आहे. तो आहे वाईल्ड फायर. म्हणजे इकडे जंगलांना आगी लागतात आणि किती 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 म्हणजे तुमच्यामध्ये एक आग लागली तर आपल्याकडे आग लागली पण काय म्हणतो अरे हा अर्धा एकर जळालं, 1 एकर जळालं. इकडच्या आगीत मिनिमम तुम्हाला 54,000 एकर जळाले म्हणजे अर्धा लाख एकर जळाला, 1 लाख एकर जळाले असे चालू असतात. आणि तुम्ही जर आता पाहिलं याच्याकडे तर 1990 पासून ते 2020 पर्यंत काय दिसतंय तुम्हाला. 2010 पासून बघा ते कसे सगळे हे मजले कसे उंच गेले. 2020 मध्ये 4 मोठ्या आगी लागल्या आणि किती जळाले बघा तुम्ही. 2.2 मिलियन एकर. 1 मिलियन एकर म्हणजे किती. 1 मिलियन म्हणजे किती. 1 वर 6 शून्य. एवढं जंगल जळाले जंगल. आणि त्याच्यात ते ज्यावेळेस जळतं ना तर ते असं पूर्ण तो त्याला इंग्लिश मध्ये परफेक्ट शब्द आहे इन्फर्नो. त्याला त्याचा बरोबर तोच मराठी शब्द मला बहुतेक नाही माहित आहे. माझी मराठी एवढी चांगली नाहीये. आणि त्याच्यानंतर हा असा फायर टोर्नेडो तयार होतो. म्हणजे आगीचा लोळ ज्याची वावटळ तयार होते. मग विचार करा ही वावटळ ज्यावेळेस पळते त्याच्यामध्ये काही उरत नाही. तो काही ठेवत नाही. आता परत मी कॅलिफोर्निया दाखवतो तुम्हाला. आपल्याला वाटतं दुष्काळ फक्त आपल्याकडेच आहे बरोबर आहे. 2015 मध्ये कॅलिफोर्नियामध्ये भीषण दुष्काळ जाहीर झाला. भीषण सिव्हिअर ड्रॉट म्हणजे सगळ्यात शेवटचा टप्पा. 2016 थोडा पाऊस पडला त्यामुळे थोडा कमी केलं त्यांनी त्याची तीव्रता. 17 थोडा जास्त पडला पाऊस, जास्त म्हणजे सरासरीपेक्षा, त्यामुळे थोडं नॉर्मल झालं. यावर्षी 2021 ला आता भीषण दुष्काळ जाहीर झालेला आहे. हा कॅलिफोर्नियाचा नकाशा आहे. मग साधारण सॅन फ्रान्सिस्को इथे येतं या इथे म्हणजे इथे सगळं म्हणजे त्याला आपण सिलिकॉन व्हॅली म्हणतो ती इथे येते सगळी. सॅन होजे, सॅन फ्रान्सिस्को, सनीवेल वगैरे. मी इथे राहतो सॅन फ्रान्सिस्कोला. तुम्ही जर याचं कलरिंग कडे पाहिलं आणि तुम्ही जर याचं लिजेंड पाहिलं कडेचं त्याची सूची तर लक्षात येईल की ती पांढऱ्या म्हणजे जिकडे अजिबात दुष्काळ नाहीये असं कुठंच काही नाही या मॅपवर या नकाशावर. त्याच्यानंतर पिवळा म्हणजे ऍबनॉर्मली ड्राय, एक्स्ट्रीम डॉट म्हणजे एकदम गडद किंवा भडक लाल, आणि जो मरून कडे झुकतोय तो एक्सेप्शनली डॉट आहे. आणि तुम्ही बघा कॅलिफोर्नियाचा 35 ते 40% हा एक्सेप्शनली डॉट आहे. आणि तरीही आपल्याकडच्या लोकांना हौस असते की आम्ही कोकणचा कॅलिफोर्निया करू. नका करू, आपला कोकण आहे तर चांगला आहे. हे तुम्ही असं काही केलं तर असं होईल. हे जे तुम्हाला चित्र दिसतं ते आपल्याला भारतात बसून बऱ्याचशा गोष्टी कळत नाहीत अमेरिकेत काय चालतं ते. तर हे माझ्या राज्याचं चित्र आहे जिथे मी राहतो तिथे. मग आता याचा सगळ्यात पहिला परिणाम कुणाला होतो? ज्यावेळेस दुष्काळ जाहीर होतो त्यावेळेस तर पहिलं पाणी कोणाचं तुटतं? शेतकऱ्याचं. जर तुम्ही सॅन फ्रान्सिस्को पासून लॉस एंजलिसला चालला, म्हणजे जिकडे सगळे चित्रतारका राहतात, हॉलिवूड आहे लॉस एंजलिसला, तर मध्ये सेंट्रल व्हॅली लागते, म्हणजे पूर्ण सपाट प्रदेश आहे. आणि तिकडे त्यांनी हजारो एकर शेती केलेली. जिथपर्यंत तुमची नजर आहे तोपर्यंत शेती आहे. मधल्या म्हणजे 2016ला ज्यावेळेस भीषण दुष्काळ होता त्यावेळेस अक्षरशः ती शेती, मोस्ट ऑफ द शेतीचं पाणी तोडल्यामुळे ती जळाली होती. तुम्हाला असे म्हणजे इकडे कुठली शेती करतात तर वॉलनट असतो, अक्रोड, त्याच्यानंतर पिस्ता असतो, बदाम असतो. त्याचे असे आता इथला छोटा शेतकरी म्हणजे काय, ज्याच्याकडे 50 किंवा 60 एकर जमीन आहे. तो मोठा म्हणजे किती, त्याच्याकडे 4000 एकर पण असू शकते किंवा 3000 एकर पण असू शकते. मला कित्येक शेतकरी माहित आहेत ज्यांच्याकडे म्हणजे आपले त्यातले काही बरेचसे सिखच आहेत, सिख लोकांनी घेतलेले, त्यांचे 1000 एकर आहे, कुणाची 800 एकर आहे, आणि सगळी यांत्रिक शेती केली जाते इकडे. तर ती पूर्ण जळालेली दिसते तुम्हाला त्यावेळेस दिसायची, ज्यावेळेस आम्ही सॅन फ्रान्सिस्कोवरून लॉस एंजलिसला जायचो त्यावेळेस. म्हणजे पहिला फटका तिथे बसलेला आहे. आणि तो सेंट्रल व्हॅली हा असा प्रकार आहे की तो जगातला सगळ्यात मोठा शेतीचा बेल्ट आहे. म्हणजे तुम्हाला तिथे तुम्ही चालला तर एवढं मोठं शेत असतं की ज्याला स्प्रेअरने तुम्ही हे नाही टाकू शकत, पेस्टिसाइड किंवा अजून काय, तर तिकडे विमान असतं, विमानाने स्प्रे करतात ते. आणि तुम्ही बघू शकता ते त्यावेळेस तुम्ही कारमधून जाता त्यावेळेस तुम्हाला दिसतात बऱ्याच ठिकाणी की तो विमान येऊन ते स्प्रे करतं. हे दुसरं एक्झाम्पल आहे किंवा कॅलिफोर्निया मधलं मी जिथे राहतो तिथे. त्याच्यानंतर मग आपण काय शिकतो याच्यातून, किंवा हा काय प्रॉब्लेम फक्त आपल्याकडेच चाललाय का, म्हणजे फक्त अमेरिकेतच आहे का, आपल्याकडे पण आहे, फक्त आपल्याकरता थोडस वेगळं आहे प्रॉब्लेम. तर तुम्ही पृथ्वी जर पाहिली तर पृथ्वीला 2 टोप्या आहेत, 2 आईस कॅप्स आहेत. दोन्हीकडे बर्फाच्या टोप्या आहेत. एका साईडला अंटार्क्टिक आहे, दक्षिण ध्रुव, आर्क्टिक उत्तर ध्रुव आहे, राईट. तर आर्क्टिक हा समुद्र आहे आणि अंटार्क्टिक हा खंड आहे. 7 खंडापैकी एक खंड आहे ना, ज्याला आपण कॉन्टिनेंट म्हणतो, बरोबर आहे, तो रिसर्टला. मग याचा आपल्यावर काय परिणाम होतो किंवा काय ह्याचा काय, त्याचा खूप मोठा परिणाम आपल्या सगळ्यावर आहे. आता तुम्हाला माहिती आहे की जागतिक तापमान वाढ होतीये, ग्लोबल वॉर्मिंग, जे सगळ्यांना माहिती आहे, नवीन काही सांगण्याची आवश्यकता नाही त्याची. पण त्याच्यामुळे होतंय काय नक्की, तर ह्याच्यापासून सुरुवात करू आपण की अंटार्क्टिक आणि आर्क्टिक मध्ये काय होतंय. तर ज्यावेळेस पर्यावरणाबद्दल बोलणं सुरू झालं आणि ज्यावेळेस लोकांना लक्षात आलं की आता बॅलन्स वगैरे डासतो हे ते, बरोबर आहे, तर ह्याची सुरुवात कधी झाली असेल तर साधारण तुम्हाला ह्याच्यासाठी तुम्हाला जायला लागेल 1962, ज्यावेळेस रॅचल कार्सन ही एक पत्रकार होती. तिने एक जबरदस्त हे पुस्तक लिहिलं जे आत्ताही मानलं जातं की ते हे सायलेंट स्प्रिंग. शंभरचा वर्षाच्या ज्यावेळेस अमेरिकन सिव्हिल वॉर झाला, सॉरी इंडिपेंडन्स झाला, तर 2-3 दिवसासाठी पेन्सिल्व्हेनियाची राजधानी जी आहे तीच अमेरिकेची राजधानी होती. तर त्या पेन्सिल्व्हेनिया राज्यात तिचा जन्म झाला आणि ती मरीन बायोलॉजिस्ट होती आणि ती पत्रकार पण होती. मग सायलेंट स्प्रिंग म्हणजे काय, तर इकडे वसंत ऋतू ज्याच्यात स्मशान शांतता आहे. विचार करा, इकडे तुम्हाला 4 ऋतू दिसतात, जर तुम्ही अमेरिकेत आला तर. मेन इकडे पावसाळा असा वेगळा नसतो. हिवाळ्यात तुमच्याकडे पाऊस पडेल किंवा तुमच्याकडे बर्फ पडेल, दोन्हीपैकी एक किंवा दोन्ही, जसं असेल त्याप्रमाणे. तर तोच तुमचा पावसाळा, तोच तुमचा हिवाळा. त्याच्यानंतर तुम्हाला फॉल असतो, जो हिवाळ्याच्या अगोदर येतो. म्हणजे आता आमच्याकडे फॉल चालू आहे. आता डिसेंबर एंड नंतर इकडे ऍक्च्युली नोव्हेंबर 15 नोव्हेंबर साधारण आता विंटर चालू झाला, हिवाळा सुरू झाला. तो साधारण फेब्रुवारीच्या एंड पर्यंत असतो. मार्च मध्ये स्प्रिंग येते. स्प्रिंग म्हणजे वसंत ऋतू. आपल्याकडे साधारण तो मे मध्ये येतो, की ज्यावेळेस मग आंब्याला आणि याला नवीन पालवी फुटते, आपल्या कडुलिंबाला, बरोबर आहे. तर इकडे तो मार्च मध्ये येतो. होतं काय की फॉल मध्ये सगळ्यांत म्हणजे पानगळती सुरू होते, शिशिर येतो, आणि मग जो हिवाळा येतो त्यात पूर्ण मोस्ट ऑफ द ट्रीज हे डॉर्मंट असतात. आणि मग ते 3 महिने डॉर्मंट राहिल्यानंतर मार्च मध्ये ज्यावेळेस टेम्परेचर वाढायला लागतं त्यावेळेस ते पूर्ण फुटतात. एवढी फुलं असतात सगळीकडे आणि एवढे म्हणजे पक्षी येतात. पण तिच्या लक्षात आलं की ह्या तिच्या वेळेसच्या वसंत ऋतूत पक्षीच नाही येत. म्हणून ते पुस्तक आहे की जे कीटकनाशक आणि त्या काळी DDT हे वंडर केमिकल समजलं जायचं, की प्रत्येक गोष्टीचं हे निर्मूलन म्हणजे DDT विल सॉल्व्ह एव्हरीथिंग, रामबाण. आणि अक्षरशः म्हणजे कम्युनिटीज ह्या विमानाने स्प्रे केल्या जायचं, DDT स्प्रे केली जायची US मध्ये. आणि आपल्याला आता माहिती आहे की DDTचा काय प्रॉब्लेम आहे आता, म्हणजे लोकांना कळलं. आणि तिने ते पुस्तक लिहिल्यानंतर अक्षरशः तिच्या वाट्याला काय आलं, उपेक्षा नेहमीप्रमाणे. एकतर बाई, बरोबर आहे, तुम्हाला माहिती आहे की अमेरिका कितपत स्त्रीवादावर काय त्यांचं म्हणणं आहे. तुम्हाला बऱ्याच वेळा जर ट्रम्प तात्यांना ऐकलं तर तुमच्या लक्षात येईल की काय त्यांचे काय खरे काय म्हणणं आहेत. तर ती गेली, ती 64 मध्ये गेली. 62 तिने ते पुस्तक लिहिलं, त्यानंतर 64 मध्ये गेली, ती कॅन्सरनेच गेली, ब्रेस्ट कॅन्सरनेच गेली ऍक्च्युली. आणि त्याच्यानंतर मग येतो तो सिनेटर गेला, ज्याच्या लक्षात आलं की अरे हा, हे खरंच काहीतरी प्रॉब्लेम आहे आपल्याकडे जे चालू आहे.